Hey everybody, Dave Neal here, stand-up comic, host of Bachelor Recap, a guy's review. A little bit of an interesting story I wanted to talk about today regarding Chris Harrison and Chris Delia. You might know one of the two. Maybe you know Chris Harrison, maybe you know Chris Delia. Chris Harrison, as you guys know if you follow The Bachelor, has been under fire for his defense of racist behavior, as you see here in the article by The Sun. This article from a few days ago says The Bachelor execs may fire host Chris Harrison as the show needs change following his defense of racist behavior. As you know, he was being interviewed by Rachel Lindsay, talking about some obviously racist allegations from a contestant on the show, and that created a huge firestorm, and people have called for his firing. He stepped aside, and people really don't know what's going to happen next. Now, he issued a apology, PR statement on his Instagram, twice actually apologizing. He added to that apology and went more in depth with why he was wrong and what he plans to do, or that he does plan to make changes to move forward. Well, Chris Delia, about 8 months ago, was in a huge national news for preying on women, and I want to get into that. Chris Delia last night issued a 10-minute update to his apology on his own YouTube channel. And I think, I don't want to compare the two different issues. I want to make that known right now. Chris Harrison's issue being defense of racist behavior, talking about, oh, the woke police are a problem, cancel culture, X, Y, and Z. Whereas Chris Delia admits to having, more of a sex addiction. Completely different scenarios. But the apology that Chris Delia made last night is kind of, I think, the way to go. I'm going to play you his full apology, and we'll discuss it, because I think it's important when we realize, whether you think you're canceling someone for life, these are human beings. They're still going to live in whatever society they have. Chris Delia had his, agents drop him, and he's probably not going to work in TV anytime soon, and all that jazz. But of course, anyone who feels victimized in either scenario is very much right to feel that way, and you need to have space for compassion and grace for them to feel their feelings as they rightfully should. But I think it's important to hear somebody like Chris Delia, who has spent 8 months thinking about what he did wrong, why he did it, and evolving as a human. I think evolving as a human is important. Maybe we can learn a lot from our mistakes. So anyway, to catch up on the story, this is from like June of this past year. Let me see here, June 20th, 2020. Feels like forever ago. 8 months ago, after Twitter outcry, 5 women detail Chris Delia's alleged sexual improprieties. Now, he was basically shooting at the hip with his Instagram DMs, his emails, traveling the country as a stand-up comedian, hooking up with women in whichever city he was in. He'll get into exactly what went down with it all, but it's very interesting how open his apology was, including cheating on his current fiance, using sex just so flippantly, and why he realizes it became toxic and became a problem, and why he understands there was such an outcry about it all. So he, before he gets to his apology, another reason that was very ironic when this all kind of came forward, with everyone sharing their timestamps and their DMs and this and that, because there were hundreds. I mean, there was probably dozens that came out, but like he says, there was many more that never came out. Like he was admitting that many women probably never came forward about it all. Chris Delia was on the show You, which is a show about stalking, and Penn Bagley is a stalker on the show. He's like a killer stalker. It's a pretty wild show. And Chris Delia played a pedophile, actually, and was preying on a 15-year-old. So in the show, when the show came out, his 3-episode arc came out only for a little while before all this news broke. It was very ironic and scary to people to think that he might have been preying on, underage women. But he insists that wasn't the case. And there was no proof that ever came forward that he was doing that in real life. The proof that came forward was that he was basically hooking up with his fan base all over the country. And I think anyone would tell you that's probably not a good idea to do. But anyway, let's just watch his apology and take it for what it's worth. This is, again, 8 months after and issuing his initial written apology. Obviously, during the pandemic, he just stepped completely away from live performing, anything in the spotlight. He stopped his podcast, all of his social media, which he's got a very large following. Chris D'Elia is not a guy that's going to be canceled from stand-up. He hasn't been arrested. You can cancel somebody if, I doubt you'll see him on NBC anytime soon. But as far as like live performances go, when he's ready to go back, he will have an audience. They will pay to see him. They will support him if you just look at the comments from the videos. But let's watch his apology and see him, own up to the issues that he has had. I think Chris Harrison's story, while it's completely different, would really help for him to just get in front of a camera when he's ready and educated and just lay it all out there. Lay it all out there. You know what I mean? So let's just watch this.
Hi, everyone. I know that it's been a really long time since you've heard from me. And when the news broke, I put out a statement that said everything I've done has been legal and consensual, and that's true. And I wanted that statement to speak for itself. And I wanted to talk immediately. I wanted to post online. I wanted to do my podcast, business as usual. But I thought that might not be the best thing. What might be the best thing would be if I just take this time to be with my family, try and take a long, hard look at myself, and just and do that. And it was a lot. It was hard. I first of all, I do know how it looks with all the stuff that's been said and the emails that have been put out there and what the media has been trying to say. And I know it looks bad, and it doesn't show the full scope of what happened. I stand by the fact that all my relationships have been consensual and legal, and that's just it. That's the truth. I threw this kind of time away. I've seeked out a lot of kind of, medical advice, therapy, and stuff like that. That doesn't matter here nor there. But what I have come to understand is this was always about sex to me. My life was, sex, it controlled my life. It was the focus. It was my focus all the time. And I had a problem. And I do have a problem. It's not like you months down the line, you just kind of, everything's better. I need to do work on that. When I first started doing stand-up and I started getting a little bit of notoriety in my early 30s, having sex got a lot easier, is for the lack of better words. And I felt lucky. I felt like, oh, wow, I don't need to work as hard. I can just do a show and then have sex, or roll into a city and look at my inbox and then just start writing. And I did, man. I wrote. I know you've seen some of the messages online. There's way more than that. I would get at least 50 messages after a show each city a night, and I would reply to all of them. And I thought in my mind that being straight up with these women was the right thing to do. I'd say, hey, come to my hotel room and let's have sex. Let's make out. Let's do this. Let's do that. And that was what I thought was right. I realized through all of this that doing that is just treating sex like it's casual and being flippant with people. And that's not the guy I want to be. It's not okay, and I'm sorry for that. It makes me feel shameful, and it makes me feel bad. People talk a lot about the power dynamic and about, well, why should someone who is a fan of yours have to worry about if you want to sleep with them or not? And I don't know where I fall on that. I sometimes think, especially in my early 30s, I would be like, well, the girl has the power because that's, I want to have sex with them, and if they want to have sex with me, then great. But what I can say is the familiarity. I would use the familiarity that I had with these women to have sex. I was like, oh, they already use me. They already know me. I didn't have to do the extra work. And I was talking to one of my friends about this and about the power dynamic and about the familiarity and not having to use that. And I said, why is that behavior not okay? Why is it not okay to sleep with somebody if it's consensual and they want to sleep with you? And he said, it's okay. Well, it is okay. It's okay until it's not. And that was when, a lot of it clicked for me. It was something that just became life controlling. I mean, I would think about it all the time. I would go and I would do my show, and like I just said earlier, and it was too much, and it became a lifestyle that I didn't know how to stop. I didn't even think I had a problem. I thought that this was how it was. I thought that guys in my position were lucky enough and fortunate enough, and it was going out of control. And I never stopped it. I cheated on most of the girls that I've been with. I cheated on my fiance now. And this is my dream girl. This is the girl that I want to be with for the rest of my life. And even that wouldn't stop what I was doing. And I was headed for you know what I was headed for? I was headed for this. And this needed to happen because I wouldn't have stopped cheating. I wouldn't have stopped using sex. I wouldn't have stopped. So I have a chance here to really, and I have been doing the work and being somebody who is a role model for my son. And I want to do that, and I can't stress that enough. I can't go back, and I can't fix that part of me, that hole in me that was trying to be filled with that. The loneliness on the road, or the fear that I felt, or the insecurity that I would try to chase and just conquer with sex, and it was out of control. So I have a chance here to apologize to the people who got caught up in that shit, and the lies that I would tell my fiance, my friends, and I'm sorry. I think that being a comedian, it's funny, the stuff that you tell yourself to make everything okay, like the cheating and the sex every night or whatever. Well, any guy would do this, which is not true, or whatever it is. And I just, I don't know. it was too much, and I made too many excuses, and I can't do it anymore, and I haven't been. And I've been on this path of recovery now for a bunch of months. I'm doing well, and you know, it's the hardest. It's the hardest thing ever to have to look at yourself and realize that that's what it is, and that's what you've done, and that's who you are. And so that's that. But thanks for listening, and I appreciate you all. Thanks.
There you have
Hi,
it,
everyone.
guys. There it is. You know, again, like I want to mention again, I am not comparing what Chris D'Elia is apologizing for and what Chris Harrison is apologizing for. I mean, there is no comparing these two different scenarios. What I am comparing is the fact that in society, we almost see it as a weakness to admit fault. We live in such a litigious culture that it's almost like if you admit fault and apologize for something, you're almost liable for what follows that, getting canceled, whatever else comes with all that. Chris Harrison, obviously, he sort of stepped aside on his own, whether or not that was, what ABC wanted or just because of the petitions to fire him. Whereas Chris D'Elia was like, it all happened sort of in a very tight window where a lot of things all came out. And like he said, for Chris D'Elia, he said, when is consensual sex not okay? When it's with, your fan base and this and that. And the answer was, it is okay until it's not. And the issue with Chris Harrison and the Bachelor franchise in general not having a proper representation of minority people on the show, contestants, the leads, even higher up in the producing of the show. The issue with Chris Harrison was that this conversation he had with Rachel Lindsay that went sideways, there wasn't a first-time thing. This was after, a decade before they even saw their, 15 years, however long it was, before they saw their first, black lead on the show, Black Bachelorette. Their first Black Bachelor. This is the first year. It's season 25 or something crazy like that, whatever season it is. So the idea with the Chris Harrison story is that, like, look, while we can pick out certain words that you said that, you had talked about certain things that were wrong and you were defensive or you were, interrupting this and that, it's really just the cherry on this sundae of nonsense that they've had to deal with. You know what I mean? So when we look at things very, very close up, laser focused, we go, well, what Chris Harrison said might not be that wrong. What, these little things, it might not be that wrong, but it's a collective sort of like straw that broke the camel's back. And with Chris D'Elia's scenario, I mean, he didn't think he was doing something wrong because he was asking people, hey, want to come up to my room? Like they knew what they were getting into with him. But at the same time, it was reckless in an addiction. We have an interesting problem with sex addiction where we don't really see it in the same way as we would say a drug addiction. I don't know what it is about that because, a drug addiction, like you put something in your body, you become chemically addicted. But can you imagine the addiction to power that is out there? I mean, obviously, you look at people like Weinstein using sex in a way that is completely full of power, megalomaniac versus the different levels of it. Someone like Chris D'Elia, he had the power and ability to, like he said, he had 50 messages in every city every night, and he would respond to every single one of them. And he thought being straight up with them was the right thing to do. He said there was a power, questioning the power dynamic. Why should a fan have to worry if you'll sleep with them or not? If someone's just your fan versus if they want more from you. And when in Chris D'Elia's scenario, I think what he's come to realize is that he was by sort of using his power as a stand-up comedian and to tap into his fan base, the sort of dynamic was already all over the place. And while some people might have been okay being used and moved on with, if you're going to have stand-up shows all over the country and every night there's 50 different people you're responding to, you're going to cast a large wake. And while, I don't know, 90% of those, I'm just making a number up, might be scenarios in which they know what they're getting into and you know what you're getting into. like he mentioned, by treating it so flippantly, he wasn't factoring in the human emotions involved with it. Obviously, this isn't a Venn diagram where it's Chris Harrison and Chris D'Elia and there's a middle ground. Two completely different things. Don't get it twisted, folks. Two completely different things. But interesting as we talk about what Chris Harrison's path forward is, we have to look at what I think is what works. Taking a step aside. The problem Chris Harrison has with The Bachelor is they're getting ready to shoot Bachelorette in like several weeks. This show's supposed to shoot into March. It's February 20th right now. So are they going to have Chris Harrison be a part of it? Are they going to go no host whatsoever? They're kind of on a time crunch. And I'll tell you this, nothing ever good comes when you're on a time crunch. Gentlemen out there, if you're watching, tell your lady to rush if you're late on a date. Say, you know what, honey, rush. Come on, put that makeup on faster. See how that goes for her. She's going to throw her mascara brush at you. Rushing always leads to issues. And I think The Bachelor is the producers, they have a real issue with what they're going to do with this scenario. Actually, Chris D'Elia was probably lucky that his situation came out during the pandemic. He was able to step aside. I believe his fiance was actually pregnant at the time or just had a baby, whatever. He's a new dad. He was able to step aside from all the hate, cancel all his shows. They were all getting canceled from the pandemic. You know, everyone speaking out against him, from Whitney Cumming. They were like good friends. She, put him on the show Undateable, all these different things. And because he played Whitney Cummings. Was it Undateable or another show? Maybe it was Whitney. I don't remember. Let me know. But he played Whitney's boyfriend, and they were friends. And of course, as a woman, I can't tell you what she was going through, but I know a lot of women probably felt so disgusted that he was doing this, and he thought that as a guy, this is what every guy looked forward to. The ability to be live that rock star lifestyle. And of course, the rock stars, a lot of them do live this lifestyle. And it's, as Chris had mentioned, it is filling a hole inside of you. The difference between shooting up and doing some drugs versus what Chris D'Elia was doing is that a druggie hurts themselves. When you're a sex addict, in some cases like this, you're causing harm outwardly. I'm not here to judge anybody, but let me know what you guys think about this apology that he gave. Because obviously, we had talked about the fact that a lot of people, we talked about Rachel Kirkconnell, right? She released her apology on the Bachelor, and it was a very well-written apology. A lot of people thought it was better than Chris Harrison's. But a lot of people said, you know what, that's just some PR person pumping that apology out. And it's like, well, we don't know. We have to see what the actions are moving forward. You have to judge people's apology as like a moment in time, and then what actions do they take moving forward to better themselves, to educate themselves, to kind of reacclimate back into society in some way or another. And I think a lot of times with PR, they go for written statements because it's hard for people to be, I hate to say the word eloquent, in the way that they get out their emotions. Well, Chris D'Elia, his podcast, he hosts by himself. He talks to the camera by himself. And he's, as a stand-up comedian, is going to perform 60 to 90-minute sets by himself. So that muscle where he's able to communicate his thoughts and feelings to you, it's a pretty powerful thing. Now, look, I don't disagree. I believe everything he said. I believe his feelings. I think you'd have to be a psychopath to spill it out like that. He put it on his YouTube. It's not like he doesn't need the money. It's not really, I think, for him about redemption. It's about saying, I've admitted where I'm wrong, and this is what I want to do moving forward. And for Chris Harrison, completely different story. But I think we'd all love to hear him just talk when he's ready, when he's learned what he wants to say, when he feels like he has a place where he can come from. Because first of all, I don't know about you guys, I'm not the type that's like, I demand an apology now. Like, look, let the person without sin be the one to throw the first stone, right? My Christian friends out there, we've all made mistakes in life, and if we were in the public eye, maybe we'd be apologizing for them too. It's just a matter of seeing this play out and trying to find a way in the year 2021 to navigate the people that have, quote unquote, been canceled, to navigate what that route is back to redemption. It's very easy for us to say, oh, no, send them into the woods. They're done forever. No, he's got a platform. He has 500,000 YouTube subscribers, and he's got a fan base all over the world. He's got a platform. I think we're better off appreciating where he goes with that platform versus silencing him altogether, because he's not going to be silenced. You know, at that size, you're not going to be silenced. There's plenty of actors that maybe you get fired and blacklisted from the industry, but within stand-up comedy, if people will pay to come see you perform, you'll find a place to do it. And same thing with Chris Harrison. It'll be interesting to see where he goes moving forward, when he talks. I don't think Chris Harrison needs 8 months to think about what he needs to say. I think he understands where he went wrong. He needs to make some actionable changes to start listening, which I know is ironic to say he should listen, but also he should talk. I think you can walk and chew gum at the same time. I think you can listen, move forward, grow, educate yourself, and at the same time, talk it out to the people that just don't want to see you canceled. Half of our country, you know, we are so divided as a country, right? So it's all like down a political line. For whatever reason, there's people that want, you know, everyone to pay a certain price, and then there's people that are like anti-cancel culture, and we have to look at it on very specific terms. Like with Chris Harrison, I don't think most of the country wants him canceled. I think they just want to know that he's going to try to do better. So let's worry about doing better. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.